Good day, everyone. Good to be with you again. Today is Sunday, October 29, 2023. We will continue on talking about Black Platform Sutra, chapter of Prajna. It's a very important chapter. It's telling us about the idea of our inherent nature. So last time we ended the talk on October 22nd. And at the end, we were saying that the inherent nature within each of us mirrors the Buddha's enlightened state. But regrettably, we currently dwell amidst beggars, which is the beggar story that we talk about on the October 22nd. So we are unsure. We are covered up with our Buddha nature. But when we eventually attain Buddhahood, then we are simply returning to our primal state. And there exists no new or old faces to our true nature, because it transcends such temporal distinctions. Now we continue on. Now let's talk about the self-nature. Self-nature has two distinct dimensions. One is a having self-nature, and the other is empty self-nature. In this context, self-nature specifically refers to its empty essence. What is having self-nature? What is having the self-nature view? Then it encompasses philosophical, religious, experiential facets, and they are all rooted in the tangible realm. Philosophically, it delves into concepts and essential nature. Religiously, it touches upon God and divinity. Experientially, that it involves meditative states and attachments to the self. Now, all these aspects are perceived as having substance rather than embodying emptiness. But the self-nature discussed in the Platform Sutra here is empty. It is inherently empty. It is not in existence in the past, or will it be in the future? Even if it appears tangible in the present, it is fundamentally devoid of inherent substance. So the question may arise, why is it empty? Well, all phenomena, both internal and external, mental and material, emerge from the complex interplay of myriad causes and conditions. So therefore, they are subject to origination and cessation because of so many factors. And their capacity to arise and dissolve implies that they lack the absolute existence. So categorizing them as empty. This self-nature constitutes the perfect example of all phenomena. The meaning of self-nature being pure, so it being purity of the self-nature signify the absence of undue attachment to the actions of all phenomena. Given the fleeting nature of phenomena, there is no necessary to overly emphasize or intimately connect them with one's self. So believing that the disclosure of phenomena yields substantial gains or losses indicates impurity of self-nature. Such sentiments reveal a failure to grasp the nature of emptiness. So in order to recognize this emptiness, then it reduces the excessive elation in favorable circumstances and prevents disproportionate sorrow in unfavorable situation. Now, this here is important because we recognize the state of emptiness. Then we will not be too happy or excited about the good or favorable conditions or circumstances. And it also decreased our sorrow in the very unfavorable situations. The self-nature is also the mind of the original nature. Now the self-mind embodies wisdom, constituting the very essence of the original nature. Previously, we explored the seesaw dynamic between the afflicted mind and the wise mind. And we also said that as affliction decrease, wisdom will flourish, and of course, vice versa. If a person that is burdened with profound afflictions, then they lack wisdom and the ability to judge well. And conversely, those with fewer afflictions exhibit a discerning wisdom. So if this is the self's mind is wisdom, then does it have another mind? Or this mind that is relative to the self? No. Since the self's mind is wisdom, then then it is the mind of wisdom. But when it comes to affliction, then it refers to the other mind. Say, for example, when we purchase stocks and participate in lotteries or engage in gambling, the question it asks here is, do we make more or lose more? You know that involving in this, then there are very few truly wealthy people, but many who lose everything. Those who become wealthy feel great joy, while those who lose everything are very sad. What kind of mindset is this? It is the mindset of afflicted. It is the outer, it is the other mind, but not the self-nature mind or the self-mind. Now, we notice that our own minds are swayed by money. When they have more money, they are extremely delighted. But we need to know that this is not their own mind, but a mind that is fixated on money, attached in money. Therefore, when money is gone, they feel sad. And of course, we know that this is the mind that is focused on money, not the true self-mind. Well, it's very easy to observe kids. Many times they are playful, they are happy. But if they fail, they will cry. First of all, they're happy. And then afterward, they cry, they're blaming on something. Say, for example, somebody's in school, kids in school were bullied, and then they feel very sad, and they may cry. And when people come for help, asking help for the monastics, saying they are ill, family members are ill, they feel very anxious, and they worry that won't get better, or won't find good doctors. And usually they will ask for help in hope that the monastics could help them to improve, get better soon enough. So the question is that, are these worries coming from the true self, or are they external? Well, the answer is obvious. So concerning our health, our career, family, any reaction that arises in the mind in response to external situation is not our true self. Our true self is the mind of wisdom, which remain unchanging. So the advice for those who come for help come down to two fundamental principles. And our teacher, Master Sun Yan, always saying that treat others with compassion and treat yourself with wisdom. That is to say, deal with others' affairs with compassion and your own affairs with wisdom. When we treat others, we should not harbor hatred or dissatisfaction. And when dealing with our own matters, we should do so with wisdom. Here is an example of our teacher, Master Sun Yan. He would like to share the story with us. He said that when he was in the States, that was years ago, before 2009, before he passed away. And something grew inside his right ear, but he did not notice at all. When the doctor saw it, the doctor scared him by saying, "Master, it's serious. Something is growing in your right ear." So when he touched it, and it seems like it had been there for a long time and was probably not an issue. But the doctor disagreed and urged him to get it checked. After half a month, the doctor see our teacher again and said, "Master, this is serious. Why haven't you gone for a checkup?" Well, our teacher thought there was no problem. But the doctor said that it seemed smaller last time and now it has grown larger. So the doctor scared him. And in the beginning, he felt a little bit anxious. But still, our teacher was not too concerned about the possibility of dying in a short time. It did not really matter much to him. Well, since the doctor continued to be worried, it would cause him more trouble. So our teacher decided to have it checked. After the examination, another doctor used an electric knife and removed it in just 2 minutes. After it was removed, the doctor was relieved, and it seemed like nothing had happened. What is this story that's sharing about is that some people worry about their own matters, but others worry about others' matters. And our teacher was almost troubled by someone else's worry. So we may come with the question of, do you experience more worries for yourself or for others? Yeah, I think we both. Sometimes we worry about ourselves, and then sometimes we worry about others, especially someone that is very close to us. So when worries arise, think about whether it is for yourself or others. If it is for others, it is not necessary. Everyone has their own karma. So there's no need to worry about others. If it is for yourself, also remember that you have your own karmic consequences. So there's no need to worry. Of course, if there's a health issue, you need to get it checked. And if there's something to be dealt with, do your best, do your duty. If you can't solve it despite all your efforts, then what can you do? Don't worry, let it be. Interesting. Although the advice may be like this, if it is for other people's matters, then you don't have to worry for them. Yeah, we're saying it because it's, they have their own karma. But can we really do that? Some people just worry too much, but they do, especially, say, for their parents, for their children, for their siblings, they will worry. And again, if it is for your own problem, we also need to know that we have our own karmic consequences. There's no need to worry, right? Okay, this becomes a practice. Now continue on talking about this self-nature. The meaning of self-nature is when our mind is pure like a mirror. The mind of wisdom is self-nature. Of course, the mind of affliction is not the self-nature. Concerning the various reactions that arise within our mind, whether it is related to our joys, angers, sorrows, worries, or other kinds of unpleasant emotions, or even very joyful emotion, they are all afflictions and not self-nature. The self-nature is a pure mind, just like a mirror. When a mirror is wiped clean and dry, there's nothing inside it. The mirror itself has no image within it. However, when something appears in front of the mirror, it reflects that image back to you clearly. What happens if the mirror turns into water and there are ripples on the water's surface due to the wind? Can that water surface reflect a true image? Of course, no. It cannot. Because the water's surface is in motion. So what does the water's surface correspond to? When there are ripples on the water, it corresponds to the mind of afflictions, which moves due to the influence of the wind. Wind here, just like, we mentioned about sorrow, joy, worries, and all other kinds of unpleasant emotion, right? Now, if our mind is like water, yet calm and mirror-like, and there is no external wind disturbing it, then the images it reflects are authentic. Now, it operates here, our minds operate in a similar way. When the mind is influenced by external circumstances, it becomes the mind of affliction, not the mind of wisdom. When the mind remains unaffected by external circumstances and doesn't cling to the notion of self, that is the mind of wisdom. At such times, whatever images arise in this mind reflect the true nature of those images. This is called self-nature. Only through self-nature can we perceive the inherent essence of our original nature. With the pure mind of wisdom, we can see the true nature of all things and the emptiness of all phenomena. Emptiness is Buddha nature. Again and again, we hear this Buddha nature, emptiness, the self nature, the wisdom mind. Buddha exists everywhere. He is unobstructed. Many people think that Buddha is in the Buddha land or in a pure land, and that there might not be Buddha in our human world, especially in the realms of animals, hungry ghosts, or hell. Buddha seems absent there. So let's discuss the reason behind the fact of the Buddha appearing everywhere. About the Buddha nature, or the Buddha's presence everywhere. Now, we also need to know that he is unobstructed. So he could exist in water, in fire, in hell, or among hungry ghosts. There's no place or no time where he is not. So reflect on ourselves. Do we have Buddha within us? Yes or no? Of course, we do. Now, in the Chan story, there's a saying of, every morning we wake up with Buddha, and every night we sleep embracing Buddha. It implies a constant intimacy, as if this were their spouse. It signifies never being apart, always being together, though we might not realize ourselves. And our self-nature is inseparable from Buddha. Our fundamental essence is identical to that of Buddha. However, our minds get turned and moved by external conditions, leading to afflictions and losing sight of Buddha. If we can perceive emptiness, affliction naturally won't arise. The mind of wisdom appears without afflictions. When the self-nature emerges, the pure Buddha nature becomes visible. It is a realization of the path to Buddhahood. So, talking about this, the path to Buddhahood. First of all, we know that the word Buddha, now this word Buddha refers to someone who has extinguished afflictions, attained complete wisdom, and fulfill virtues. Now, when we combine the words, the path to Buddhahood, there are profound and shallow aspects. The deep aspect indicates that one has already achieved the position of Buddha. The meaning of path is that only the one who has become a Buddha walks this path. And this is called the path to Buddhahood. And therefore, it is said that only a Buddha and a Buddha can understand it. This refers to the degree of mutual understanding and communication between Buddhas. This is the path to Buddhahood, which represents the highest, the most, and most ultimate path. This is also the moment when we generate the mind of enlightenment. Initially, when this mind arises, we aspire to attain the path to Buddhahood, the state of complete and ultimate Buddhahood. Well, a lot of people who is afraid of, when hearing this, that we recite the 4 great vows in our daily services. I vow to attain supreme Buddhahood. Seems like it's too far away. But once we give rise to this mind, we already begin to walk the path. That is the path from sentient beings to Buddhahood. And this is the second meaning of the path to Buddhahood, which is the path to become a Buddha. It is the journey from sentient beings to Buddhahood, progressing step by step, level by level. And therefore it's called the path to Buddhahood. Master Yin Shun, contemporary master, had written a book in which he introduces the 5 paths. First one, the human and the heavenly path. The second one, the path of the sound hearers, which is referring to Sravaka. And then the third one, the path of Payaka Buddhas. That is the third one. And the fourth one is the Bodhisattva path. And the fifth one is the path of Buddhas. So there are 5 levels. Human, heavenly, that's one. Savaraka, Payeka Buddha, Bodhisattva, and then Buddha. And this is what we call the path to Buddhahood. What about this? The path to Buddhahood in the Platform Sutra. Well, it refers to enlightenment, refer to immediate awakening to one's true nature. And this is what we're discussing here in the Platform Sutra of the 6th patriarch. Does the Platform Sutra discuss the human, heavenly, Sravaka, Payeka Buddha, Bodhisattva, and Buddha's path? No, it doesn't. So the concept of the path to Buddhahood that we are discussing here holds a different meaning. The meaning of Buddha is the meaning of awakening, realization, and awakening. But to what? This probably we have in mind the questions we may have. It is awakening to the emptiness of all phenomena. All phenomena lack an eternal, unchanging essence. Instead, we come to personally experience and understand that all phenomena and appearances are dependent on causes and conditions and are not eternal. If we can understand this, it's called awakening to the path. It's called enlightenment. It's called seeing one's true nature. What nature do we see? We see the nature of emptiness. And this emptiness is Buddha nature. Hence, it's called the path to Buddhahood. This is the meaning of immediate awakening to one's true nature. Who will be able to immediately awakening to one's true nature? Who? Well, here referring to the one with profound roots. They will immediately awaken without passing through stages of practice. Because the foundation is deep and sharp, upon hearing the Dharma, they immediately awaken to their true nature and perceiving emptiness. Individuals like this within the Chan tradition are referred to those with immediate roots or sharp roots. When they awaken, what they perceive and realize about emptiness is the same as what Buddha himself realized. But we use an analogy like this. Drinking a single drop of water is water. Just as drinking all the waters of the four great oceans is also water. The quantity of water might differ, but the nature of water remains entirely the same. Would you be able to understand that? It's not so difficult, right? It's easy because it's all water. Therefore, when we talk about this immediate enlightenment, referring to those individuals who have taste of a single drop of water. And of course, individuals who have already become Buddhas are like ocean of water themselves. The experience of water is entirely identical, although this might imply a difference in size. Again, our teacher shared a story of our grandmaster, Master Dong Chu. So the teacher said that he met a disciple who was a disciple of Master Dong Chu, our grandmaster. He told our teacher, Shifu, a story about years ago when he was with the grandmaster Dong Chu. So Master Dong Chu asked him, what would you do if Sakyamuni Buddha appeared before you? He did not respond. He turned away and left. And our grandmaster Dong Chu sighed and said, no good, you are quite clever. You haven't awakened. But the slave person was not willing to accept this and asked, Master, why doesn't it count? Then Grandmaster Dong Chu explained, in a 100-meter race, known as a 100-meter dash, I fired the starting gun, and you have already reached the finish line. How can this be counted? There's no trace of your footstep along the way. Otherwise, magicians would possess this skill too. As soon as the gun fires, they're already at the other end. And there's no need to run. In that case, there's no race. Now the story ends here, but do you understand? Do you understand the meaning of the story here? Well, the meaning of the story is that when the Grandmaster asked the lay disciple, what would you do if Sakyamuni Buddha appeared before you? This late disciple was very sharp-minded, thinking that I am a Buddha. If I see Buddha, it must be a false Buddha. I should quickly leave. Since I am Buddha myself, why is another Buddha appearing? That Buddha is opposed to me must be false. So I should leave immediately. However, why did our Grandmaster say it doesn't count? According to our Grandmaster, the lay disciple should have counted as awakened, as he thought that since he was already Buddha, he should leave when another Buddha appears. But the lay disciple was using his thinking mind, intellect. He was thinking that the Buddha appeared. And as his nature is already Buddha, why is another Buddha appearing? So he should leave immediately. Well, when such thoughts arise, true enlightenment isn't present. And because of this, our Grandmaster advised him to diligently practice without taking shortcuts. During the 100-meter race, as soon as the gun fires, you have reached the finishing line. Did you really run? Definitely not. And therefore, the saying of all of us have already become Buddhas. To truly see Buddha, you must practice diligently. Okay. You got it? I hope. So I've stopped here.